Welcome to the virtual edition of Angel Flight Central's Wine Flight. My name is Don Sumple, and I'm the Executive Director of Angel Flight Central. This is not exactly how we expected to celebrate Angel Flight Central's 25th anniversary of serving people in need by arranging charitable flights for healthcare or other humanitarian purposes. However, we're going to do our best in the next 40 to 50 minutes to take a look back at the past, give thanks for where we are, and talk about how you can help us move into the future. Before we begin, let us now offer a moment of silence to acknowledge the servicemen and women who have passed this past year, protecting and fighting for our freedom. Individuals who have lost their lives in natural and man-made disasters, as well as Angel Flight Central's passengers, ground volunteers, pilots, and donors who are no longer with us. Thank you. Well, 25 years ago, our founder, Jim Stevens, made a flight that would begin saving lives, providing relief during natural and man-made disasters, and giving children with special needs an opportunity to enjoy summer camp with other children facing the same issues that they are. With me right now is our founder, Jim Stevens. Jim, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Don, for those kind words. When we started this organization 25 years ago, it was dedicated to flying people in need. I never truly understood the real meaning of those words, people in need. Only after I flew many missions did I come to realize that those people were people just like myself. Any one of us at any time in our life can suddenly find that all the hard work we've done, all the careful plans we've made, and all the safety nets that we've had put into place can one day become strained and eventually exhausted. Perhaps a child of ours needs weekly treatment in Houston, or a family member must travel to the Mayo Clinic in a desperate attempt to save their life. Insurance might pay for the treatment, however, in all likelihood, it will not pay for the transportation cost. Or perhaps a loved one, say your mother, is suddenly taken ill in some far corner of Kansas. The only way that you may be able to get there and be at the bedside of your loved one is if an airplane is available to fly you into a small field nearby. Need come to all of us, and at unpredictable times. Angel Flight is here to help people in need. I'm so proud of what we together have accomplished in our first 25 years, and I say God bless each and every one of you, and may we look forward to another 25 years of serving our community and of helping people in need.
Jim, on behalf of the nearly 30,000 individuals who have been flown by this organization over the past 25 years, thank you. It has been a year of chaos for the world, our nation, and AFC due to COVID-19. We had to hit the pause button on general aviation passenger flights for 10 weeks, from mid-March until June 1st. This needed to be done to keep both our passengers and our pilots healthy and safe, as we best tried to figure out how best to move forward. During that time, we retooled and turned to flying personal protective equipment to rural hospitals to keep those on the front line safe. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the Vice President of Rural Health of Colorado, Benjamin Anderson. Benjamin, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Don. As you heard, my name is Benjamin Anderson, and I'm Vice President for Rural Health and Hospitals with the Colorado Hospital Association. Interesting connection. I was first introduced to Angel Flight Central as a hospital CEO in rural Kansas and the very worried father of a toddler-age little boy who had just been diagnosed with a rare form of epilepsy. And your pilots flew me, my wife, and our son to the Mayo Clinic several years ago, and his seizures have been well managed ever since. So part of my job at the Colorado Hospital Association is to lead the development and execution of a statewide strategy for rural health, which is particularly interesting in the face of a global pandemic. When the outbreak first happened, rural hospitals and communities in the Midwest and the Mountain States were dangerously short on PPE or personal protective equipment, and Angel Flight Central helped us launch an effort called #Heart for Heroes, which has since delivered over 2 million pieces of PPE in partnership with Project Cure and on Angel flights to rural communities across the United States. Thank you so much for the difference you're making. We are extremely grateful.
Benjamin, thank you for your kind words. In conjunction with flying PPE, our pilots flew blood plasma to help combat the virus, and mother's milk was flown to milk banks in Minnesota to alleviate shortages and assured newborns that they would have the nutrition they sorely needed. When we resumed passenger flights, we did so with a COVID-19 response plan in place to help mitigate the risks of our passengers and pilots. I really want to thank our safety committee, who spent many hours putting time in to put this plan in place. Once again, our brave pilots have stepped up big time in helping those in need during these very uncertain times. Just a reminder, as you are watching this presentation, you can help us by bidding on some great auction items available on your mobile app. If you would like to download the mobile app to participate, you can log on to the address on your screen. There are great items up for bid, including some great wine, jewelry, and sports memorabilia. Please bid high and bid often. We can certainly use your help to continue flying individuals like the Rudder family.
I'm George.
I'm Suzanne.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mason.
And I'm Haley.
And we want to thank you for your donations, allowing us to use Angel flights to get us to surgeons from Kansas City to Los Angeles to Seattle to Florida, Boston, and New York. If it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be possible.
We just want to say thank you for making it possible to find the best doctors that we could to care for our kids in their rare condition. They've made it possible to give them a quality life so much better than if we wouldn't have been able to travel.
From the Rudders,
Thank
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's where your dollars go when you give through us. I want to take time right now to thank our sponsors of this virtual event. Their participation in this event helps us look at 2021 with a lot less trepidation. I want to thank our presenting sponsors, DSI, and Joe and Sandy Rademan. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. Our premier sponsors, Southwest Airlines and Keen Wealth Advisors. I would like to recognize our first-class sponsors for this evening, Jet Aviva. In addition, our business class sponsors, Dave and Laura Rainey, Barbara and Watkins, Scott and Laura Fitzgerald, DMSI, Kansas City Foot and Ankle. I also want to thank our coach and travel class sponsors, and you'll see their names on the screen. Well, I got to get down to the restaurant at 1900. Scotty, beam me up. Well, Scotty, thanks for beaming me here to the restaurant at 1900. And I'll tell you what, how can we have a wine flight without this guy? Master of wine, wine sommelier, only 4 in the entire world. And I think I mentioned that a wine flight previously when we were live at the Sheraton, that more people have walked on the moon than have those 2 titles. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Frost.
Well, thank you very much, Don. I haven't walked on the moon. I don't know, man. I think those people are pretty special.
Well, I'll tell you, you're pretty special too for our organization. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for this organization. I've been with the organization now 11 plus years, and your friendship, your compassion, your generosity has just been phenomenal. So thank you so much.
Well, it's my pleasure. I obviously believe deeply that this is a really worthy endeavor, a really worthy charity to try to lavish some love upon it. And so interacting with you guys has been great. And what you do for people is pretty stunning.
Well, you and back in the day, Matt Nevinger, pulled this whole thing together. And I never thought we'd be celebrating our 25th anniversary at a hangar. But it is what it is, right? Yeah. And it's been a crazy year.
Yeah, it's been a completely mad year. Certainly it's been difficult for us in that we've had to lay aside the Jefferson Cup in 2020. We're not alone. A lot of things have been pushed into 2021, and we're all hoping that it's a better year. And certainly, that's a disappointment, but onward and upward. I think 2020 has had a whole share of challenges, and from the winery side, because that's one of my iterations, is I have a winery in Walla Walla. It's been a really difficult year there too. You know, California has had devastating fires, as has the Willamette Valley in Oregon, and those problems aren't just the destruction of wineries and homes and such, even though that's devastating enough. But for most wineries in California, most wineries in Oregon, and I would say even a majority in Washington State, we're all monitoring our fruit and our wines very carefully to see if they've been ruined by the smoke. The smoke gets into the grape skins, and you won't see it, you won't smell it, you won't really even know it's there when it's grape juice. It's only when fermentation is complete that you actually can smell and taste that. And it's not what you want to smell and taste in a wine. There's really no wine that benefits from the flavor of cigarette ashtray in the finish. Yeah, this is not, you'll never find that in the good notes. You'll never find that in the notes of any of the award-winning Jeff Cup wines, at least not as far as I know. So we're right now in a pretty difficult but waiting pattern. There's really nothing to do except wait for fermentations to conclude, and then see how the wines evolve, and be prepared to throw away a wine if it's not right.
You know, you've been so kind to basically suggest some wines for our viewers that are watching at home tonight. And why don't you touch base a little bit about the Jefferson Cup? There's a lot of people that may not know about it, and you started this, what, almost 20 years ago, if not?
A bit more than 20
More
now.
than 20 years?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I'll tell you, time flies when you're having fun, huh?
It does, yeah. When you're drinking, it sure does. So, yeah, we started the Jefferson Cup actually in the state of Virginia. And initially, it was supposed to benefit Thomas Jefferson's summer retreat. And things just didn't really work out. The state of Virginia and the Virginia Wineries Association struggled with hosting it. And so it really was going back 19 years ago. The state of Missouri said, how can we help you? This is, we think it's a worthy endeavor. Because the idea was, even though it was started in Virginia, the idea was to allow wines from all over the United States to compete against each other. Now that's the sort of thing that's done in a lot of places, and it's done, most people would say, in most national competitions. But here's the problem. In most national competitions, you'll have, say, 2,000 wines, of which 1,800 of them are from California. Not surprisingly, but they just throw their doors open, and anybody who wants to pay the fee to be in there can have their wines in it. So California dominates. Well, there is this thing called, sort of house palate, as we call it in the wine tasting business. If you drink 100 California wines, your palate sort of adjusts even that day to saying, well, this is how wine should taste. And so when you taste a wine from New York or Virginia or Michigan or Missouri or wherever, it seems a little different. And so what we decided to do, what I had hoped to do from the outset, was allow, let's say, Virginia wines, but wines from all over the United States to compete more fairly by limiting the number of California wines that could be there. So every flight that's within, and there's literally about 100 flights or so that happen within the 3 days of competition, each of those flights is carefully calibrated so California does not dominate any particular flight, that it's spread amongst various different states and various and different appellations, as we call these regions of origin. And in so doing, you hope that Arizona or Oregon or Idaho or Michigan or Virginia or Kansas or Missouri or even Georgia for that matter, and certainly New York and such, they all get a fair shake. And the results of the judging has been such that it's really obvious that that's what happens, because each of those states I've mentioned have won the very top award, the Jefferson Cup, at various times in the past.
You want to touch base with how many entries you actually get, so people get the scope of how big the Jefferson Cup really is.
We usually do about 800 wines or so, and 800 wines are tasted by about 20 judges or so, somewhere between 20 and 25 judges. I bring in judges from all around the U.S. Many are masters sommeliers, masters of wine and such, but certainly a group of people that I really trust and that I believe understand how to taste not just California Chardonnay, but they understand how to taste Missouri Norton or Illinois Chamberson or the delicacy of a Michigan Pinot Gris or a Long Island Chardonnay and things like that, which can challenge people if all they've ever tasted is California wine. So it's a pretty big endeavor. It takes a lot of room, takes a lot of glassware. We go through. Oh my God, yeah, no, that's the single real challenge of the Jefferson Cup is telling the crew that you are going to spend 2.5 days just washing glasses and polishing them. That's all you're going to do the entire time.
They're running around, I need palm olive.
Oh, totally.
I need palm olive.
Oh, totally. No, it's rough stuff. But for the judges, it's a great deal of fun. Each judge tastes between 125 and 150 wines on the first full day. And then the second day, they'll taste probably about 75 wines or so. And from that is determined the Jefferson Cup. And I'm the organizer and certainly know which wines are where, so I'm not allowed to vote. And there are definitely moments when I'm looking at my judges thinking, why? But you know, this is in the nature of it. The wine judging, no matter how good your judges are, is inherently a subjective process. When people say, oh, well, this competition gave it a gold medal, but this competition only gave it a bronze medal, there are several things at work. One is, how good were the judges? Two is, maybe those were 6 months apart. Some wines change. In fact, the point of wine is that it changes. You hope it gets better, but some wines do, some wines don't. So it is what you hope is a snapshot in time that gives people a sense of how all of the states within the United States are making wine, because they are, and how many of them are making really worthy wines, worthy of people's attention.
And Doug actually donates all that wine back to Angel Flight Central, and we do Wine Flight. And so next year, I believe it's November 5th, it's going to be at the Sheraton. Knock on wood.
Oh, yeah.
Knock on wood. Come and join us because you have a chance to sample all that wine prior to our program. It's a wonderful event. And Doug, I got to tell you, I've been with the organization for 11 plus years now, and your generosity, your kindness, and the Jefferson Cup and Wine Flight really has spurred us on to where we are today, 25 years after the founding by Jim Stevens. And I don't know necessarily that we would be here without you. So I want to thank you very much from everybody involved with the organization, from our board members, our pilots, our volunteers, our staff, our donors. You have been absolutely incredible. I also want to thank our pilots, our donors, our board members, our ground volunteers, our staff, past and present, for doing an incredible job and getting us to a 25th anniversary celebration with you, which means a lot. So let's lift a glass to Doug Frost, all our supporters, in 25 more years to Angel Flight Central.
Hello, my name is Brendan Snegas. I am the Director of Operations and Development. At this time, we're going to highlight just a few of the thousands of people who have made the 25 years of service at Angel Flight Central possible. Keep your trays in the downward position and enjoy this flight down memory lane.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for flying with us. On our final approach, please make sure your seat backs and trays are in their upright and locked positions.
My goodness, thank you to all of those who created such a firm foundation for the rest of us to build upon.
Don't forget, as you're watching this presentation, you can help us by bidding on some great auction items available on your mobile app. If you didn't pre-register for tonight's event, log on to the address showing on your screen and get into the action. The auction will be open until 10 p.m. By bidding, you'll be helping individuals like Cameron. What a cutie. Thanks, Cameron, for joining us tonight. Well, Scotty, I get to get back to the airport. You know your thing, I know my thing, so beam me up, please. Wow, that's the only way to fly, huh? Well, tonight we're sharing with you why Angel Flight Central is such a valued organization to the thousands of passengers we serve each and every year, as well as an inductee into the International Air and Space Hall of Fame in San Diego, as a result of AFC's life-saving impact on humanity through charitable aviation. Remember, each and every one of us is only a phone call away from either knowing someone or becoming a person in need. It gives me great pleasure right now to welcome our virtual Wine Flight event guests, Elisa and Emma Hall. We're very pleased to be working with them. Elisa and Emma, it's all yours.
Thanks, Don. Angel Flight for us has made the biggest difference. When we were told that we needed to be in Milwaukee every week, we thought, okay, that's what we're going to do. But we didn't know how we were going to do that. That's a 10-hour drive to make back and forth. Angel Flight stepped in and they made a way where there didn't seem to be a way. So, and what has it meant for you, Emma, flying?
They've helped me get to Wisconsin faster, so I don't have to miss my brother's football games.
Yeah, that was a really big deal. That was our son's senior, her big brother's senior year of football and wrestling, and her other big brother's junior year of football and wrestling and other activities. And she didn't have to miss her friends at school and things like that in our church family, that we were able to still be a part of our community and not end up actually having to move. We first found Angel Flight through a friend of a friend of a friend on Facebook, and they suggested getting in touch with Angel Flight, and I hadn't heard of it, so I literally Googled them up and filled out the application, and I got in touch with Ashley, who's been so amazing and such a blessing. She's so much fun, and she's made what could have really been it's hard to ask. That's a big ask. Hey, can I get a ride to Wisconsin every week for I don't know how long and home? And her graciousness just made it comfortable and made it not seem like a big deal when I knew that's a huge ask. And so the humility that it took to ask, she made it seem so easy for me to just talk to and for me to just ask the questions, and comfortable to get into a plane with strangers and take my daughter across the country, and for them to be willing to do all the things that they did. I mean, every pilot was so kind and so gracious and so willing. Sorry.
It's pretty fun and easy. It's easier than driving because you have to drive 10 hours, and then it's using a bunch of gas and stuff. And then flying, it's just a fly about 2 hours and then stop and then get some gas and then fly, and
it's been a matter of winning the game. You know, her doctor in Wisconsin is the #1 in the country for what she has for her rare situation, and so it's been a matter of winning the game for us, for her. She's doing so much better, and he was able to, for us to be able to go see this particular doctor was the game changer for us. Being able to still be a part of the rest of our family's lives and still get the best care for her that she needed without having to uproot and move and try to find jobs and, you know, all those things. It was a lifesaver, literally. So we just want to say thank you to Angel Flight.
And Don, back to you.
Thank you, Elisa and Emma, for sharing your story with us. We wish you nothing but the best in your future. That's why we're here tonight, to celebrate 25 years of helping individuals like the Halls and to raise funds to help more individuals and families in the years to come. I know 2020 has been a tough year for all of us. If you are in a position to help, I'd like to invite you to consider a level of tax-deductible support during the next few minutes. On your screen, you'll be viewing different giving levels. On your mobile device, you'll find our Fund a Need section next to the silent auction section, right where you're registered. Friends, let's fund a need for 2021. Let's kick off our Fund a Need with the $25,000 level. Will someone step up and honor us with a $25,000 donation to help us celebrate our 25th anniversary and get us set for the next 25 years? Now we move on to the $20,000 level. In our first 25 years, we have flown nearly 30,000 flights. Around 94% of these flights were for medical purposes, in many cases for life-saving treatment. This amount will help put us in a position to handle another 30,000 flights for people in need. When a natural or man-made disaster strikes, AFC is there to fly supplies or medical personnel to the stricken area. Whether it's flooding in Nebraska or hurricane relief in the Gulf states, your $15,000 donation will go a long way in helping us provide these services. AFC flies children every summer to special needs camps. These children have HIV/AIDS, cancer, heart disease, or are burn victims. A $10,000 donation will help those children reach those camps and have a summer to remember. Please donate at the $10,000 level if you can. Many COVID-19 hotspots need the help of extra medical personnel. A $5,000 donation will allow us to continue to fly volunteer medical personnel, doctors and nurses, into those COVID-19 hotspots to provide care and alleviate the burden of those currently serving in those medical facilities. A $2,500 donation will allow us to continue to fly personal protective equipment to rural hospitals across the country. PPE is desperately needed by these underserved rural hospitals during the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, during our 25 years, AFC has flown accident victims home while on vacation or visiting relatives. A $1,000 donation will help cover these costs when this situation occurs during the upcoming year. Moving along, a $500 donation will pay for almost 3 Angel flights for a person in need. As you know, AFC does not have a limit on how many flights a person can take. If there is a continued need for travel, AFC will be at their service. Providing Angel Flight Central with a $250 donation will cover the costs of nearly 2 flights for individuals in need of clinical trials. In many cases, these clinical trials are their last hope and require monthly and sometimes weekly travel multiple states away. A gift of $100 will help reunite military personnel and their immediate families upon their return to the U.S. Please give to support those who are fighting for you. A $50 donation will be put to use to coordinate an Angel flight for someone who needs to get out of harm's way due to domestic violence. AFC pilots are honored to serve victims in shelters and relocate them to safety. That's going to wrap up the Fund and Need portion of our program. I want to thank each and every one of you who gave. You are truly giving hope wings for 2021 and beyond. Remember, you're not giving to us, you're giving through us. Along with your support, let me thank our sponsors who helped make this event possible. I want to thank our presenting sponsors, DSI and Joe and Sandy Ratterman. Our premier sponsors, Southwest Airlines and Keen Wealth Advisors. I want to recognize our first-class sponsor, Jet Aviva. Additionally, I want to thank our business class sponsors, Dave and Laura Rainey, Barbera and Watkins, Scott and Laura Fitzgerald, DMSI, and Kansas City Foot and Ankle. Also, I salute our coach and travel class sponsors as you view their names on the screen. What is Angel Flight Central without the compassionate and giving volunteer pilots who create the backbone of our organization? From Jim Stevens' very first flight to the 325 current pilots active today and the thousands in between, I say thank you. Right now, I would like to introduce you to one of those caring pilots, Scott Fitzgerald.
Well, thanks, Don. Thanks for putting me on the spot, first of all. But Don asked me in advance just to maybe say a few words from the pilot perspective and what Angel Flight means to us as the pilots in the organization. I'm only one of over 300 plus active pilots that fly for the organization. And I would say for all of us, it's really special to be involved in great charities, first of all, but especially when you get to combine our passion as pilots for aviation with a really personal touch on delivering what the organization really does. You heard from Emma earlier, and for pilots, when we get to know the patients and we get to meet them as people and see them go through their treatments and get them to places that they otherwise couldn't, whether it's Milwaukee or Mayo or MD Anderson or wherever they need to go, it's really special for the pilots, and it's really, really rewarding for us. So they say we get out more than we put in, and I think that's absolutely true. With that, I'll throw it back to you, Don.
Thank you, Scott. Whether you're a pilot, ground volunteer, a donor, a past or current board member or staff member, we thank you. You have made a difference in the lives of many, and we appreciate your kindness, generosity, and the passion you have shown toward this organization. I want to thank you all for your wonderful support in tonight's virtual wine flight event. I got to tell you, I never thought at the beginning of the year we'd be celebrating our 25th anniversary in a hangar and not at the Sheraton. But we do so with extreme appreciation of your participation. Please keep in mind that our silent auction and Fund and Need will be open until 10 o'clock tonight. So please feel free to share this experience with your family and friends prior to the clock striking 10. And of course, you can always donate at angelflightcentral.org. Hopefully, we'll be back together next year for a live and in-person gathering. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and please stay safe and healthy. God bless and cheers.